Are they all moving?
No,
just surely they can't
Legacy.
Be. They should.
But NC was out in Catch yesterday.
Only a coalition. Only a small coalition.
Only a coalition. Even though Billy said, and I quote, "The locals can take care of this." XAX had like 200 Macarios recently.
Yeah. Like what was that all about?
Now you're in Bastion, right?
No, I'm not in Bastion. I'm in Initiative.
Okay, well, you were, or at least it looked like you did. Okay, well, that makes sense. Why didn't you guys shoot the goddamn Keepstar? The one in shit. It was.
I think we were setting up for it, but I don't know.
Then you all just stared at it. I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
I don't know what these guys do.
I'm not part of the.
It's all crazy
I have
to me.
No fucking clue what their thought process is. Their thought process isn't, let's
tell McLeod
from a fight, tell McLeod
I assume that there just had been so much staged around they said it wasn't a good idea.
There would be a legitimate reason why we didn't do it. I just don't know what that legitimate reason is, but I am absolutely 100% and fully confident that if they had a reason not to shoot it, it was the right call.
So
see, I'm the strategic genius here who would just shoot anything. I got my chance.
Shoot everything as we start the show.
That's that same thing about sort of everything being a nail and you having that bloody hammer again.
I mean, I've got a question that I need to ask because I was talking to someone the other day and I made this point when I found out that Init were moving into Catch. Whenever Init moves out of Catch, McLeod, to do whatever the next place is, please can you make sure it's Immensia, give me notice, and let me tag along.
Well, Immensia is right there.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know until I'm on the movement fleet and we're moving in a certain direction.
Oh yeah, they never tell
let me know when the movement fleet happens, right? I will find.
It's already happened. They're already there.
Movement fleet.
Immensia is right there.
We're already in shit.
They're in Curse already.
I know, Dawn.
You're gonna have to move yourself.
Moving into Immensia. Okay, so for context, I was Legacy, 3 years ago in Warped Intentions when we took Immensia, and it was me and a couple others that were head FCs for Warped that were leading that. Pardon?
Are you just stuck there now, or do you need a rest?
No. I'm just there I so want to be on the other side, considering I had fallings out with people on that side.
So boys and girls, are we ready to start the show yet? Or are you guys just gonna keep yammering?
I thought we were starting the show.
Oh yeah, well you're starting.
You did the intro.
I couldn't get it a word. Yep.
I was gonna say something innuendo-ish about about Carneros and his the amount of subs and whether he's underneath some other person who has more sub time, but it was
terrible.
You hadn't unmuted at that point, so it kind of went unsaid.
Went unsaid. Hey, Arendis is here. It's a wild Arendis.
Good evening, Arendis.
He's here to make sure I don't spill the beans on anything. I'm sure.
If you have multiple Arendis, if there's more than one Arendis in a channel, I just want to ask this because I'm curious as to what Arendis feels like for this. If there's more than one Arendis in a channel, is it multiple Arendises or is it Arendi?
It's Arendi.
For multiple, it sounds a bit sus to me.
Okay, first of all, why do we want more than one? I mean, one's a lot.
I love Arendis. What are you talking about?
I mean,
I'd have 20 of them around. They all yell at each other.
I feel if there's more Renduses than or Rendai, like the better. In general.
Rendus got really quiet when we started talking about him.
I apologize, Rendus.
No, he can't talk. That's the problem.
What do you mean he can't talk?
I didn't hear any noise.
Is this thing not working again?
There
They're
you
working.
I can hear you.
Oh, stupid fucking thing.
Yeah.
So, we've had a lot this week. And currently, well, for those at home who don't know, we were talking about Legacies moving to Catch to beat up on, to beat up on Initiative because they're scurry, which is just a compliment all around. So,
hold on, Initiative is scary.
Yeah.
Last I heard, they were dead.
Yeah, or they
What's going on
were,
there?
cowering in Fountain, right? That was the other thing I heard.
Yeah. We were in Fountain, and Fountain is being burnt. So, like, clearly, we're inside of that house, just saying this is fine.
Everything.
Apparently.
I've got to ask something here, right? The unseen factor that no one's raised the question of, because in it we're moving, well, air quotes, moving back into Fountain. Gobbin said that Horde was going back to attack Fountain.
I mean, they did forget
So
a faction force out there.
Is Horde about to move to Catch and burn Catch because in it are moving into there?
No, that's what Test is doing. Test has to look like they actually do something in this war.
Yeah, but where's Horde going?
To Fountain.
But there's
There
no
are
in
some
it.
there are some jump bridges that offend them that they need to kill.
Just because nobody's in Fountain doesn't mean that you can't make like some kind of grandiose sort of like play and sort of play
I don't know if
so it's like,
To be fair, they missed a load of structures the first time.
yeah,
Did
that
they
is
think
true
that,
actually.
like, Initiative was gonna be like, I guess we'll fight you for Fountain now. Like, okay, whatever.
I'll just be.
In chat, are they actually going to try and headshot 1DQ first? Yeah, that happened. Was it last week?
was
And
Monday.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, that wasn't
Didn't work out too
expected.
well for them.
That was just more of a happenstance of opportunity of they were already formed, so why not try it, see what happens.
They were formed for a star that was somewhere else that we had no intent of killing. And
Yeah, but if they hadn't formed, would we have not been like dreads for days and just sent them down
Trends
the
for
road?
days.
I'm just messing with you, Dirk. Like, it's fine if you missed it. I just saw you say that and it was like, well, that happened.
Everything's happened. So I guess it's going to be a jump clone deployment. We talked about this a little bit on Thursday. I think it's perfect that they do a jump clone deployment because that means that there's always that opportunity for someone to fuck up and forget their clone, or they
Now,
put the clone in the wrong
Which of them
space.
are jump cloning where now?
Test is and Legacy are going to be jump cloning to defend Catch from the scary Initiative and friends.
That doesn't exist.
So, Test is deploying to Catch to defend their own space.
Their space.
Brave is defending their
Beacon
space. At what point is Legacy going to be leading the invasion Legacy is leading?
I mean, this is to Arendis' point as well. This is also after specifically, they came out and said that they're basically going to live in Delve, so they don't really care about their space.
Yeah, like wouldn't they
have
want
at the
to
moment.
put their effort into just making Quarius and Period Basis and their half a Delve better?
Remember, you only need 2 keep stars to defend Delve.
And you only need two Sotios, one for starter and one backup, right?
Yep. That's all you need.
I mean, I just want to address something that Arendis said here, which I don't know if this is actually something that's ever been publicly stated before. It's no secret, or damning secret, mind you. Legacy was never leading this invasion, Arendis. Test was leading this invasion. Because
Sure,
whenever I
okay,
Legacy,
that's fair.
they never considered themselves part of Legacy. They considered themselves above the rest of Legacy, and repeatedly held us all out to dry.
I am not going. I'm not going, for my part, to. I'm not going to speculate on the current internal workings of the Legacy Coalition. You have direct experience. That's totally fine. I respect that, and I trust your judgment on that. But for my own statements, I'm just going to,
No, that's fine. I'm
to act like they are a cohesive, cooperative group that actually cares about one another and tries to help one another out.
But you would hope they are, and as they put up the external appearance of.
So you're gonna, the cohesive nature of when one of their alliances got destroyed, they all said, "Who? They don't matter at all." And this wasn't like a tiny little TUSOV holding system feeder alliance. This was like their third largest alliance in their group got destroyed, and they all said, "Who cares about Requiem? No one cares about Requiem." Cohesion.
This is honestly nothing new. I remember, as I was saying about earlier, leading the warp stuff in Amencia back in 2017, right? And repeatedly we said, look, we're having to deal with, I want to say it was Red Alliance, Midas, and all of those lot. And they would consistently turn around and go, you're on your own with that. We got our other objectives. Their other objectives turned out to be fun fleets. Because who gives a fuck about coalition allies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it works.
I'm just going to sit here and drink my vodka.
It is too early for that.
You gotta look on the stream and look at the cup.
At this point, I'm trying to come up with some smart-ass remark that I clearly don't mean. That's still enough to tweak Wibla without actually making Wibla mad at me about TNT.
We love TNT.
Because as someone who was in TNT, I deeply love TNT. I respect the hell out of Wibla, and he knows it. So if I'm gonna pick on somebody, it would be Wibla but I would want to tweak him without actually making him mad. Sometimes that's not an easy line to walk because.
We also didn't pay Necro to do what he did. I think he just got paid for some of the buildings he gave away.
I believe he also took some of the money, didn't he? So he himself.
Yeah, he's like, what faction titan should I get? So we're like, well, there's none for sale, so good luck. He's like, damn it! We're like, don't get a faction titan. Let's just throw out a bunch of cash and something that can die real easy. So just save up. Necro's been having a great time with us, by the way, so. And Necro's never said that we owe him or enter Logan. Whatever you think you know about Necro, you don't. And
just antagonize this guy to show out of it.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out the Interlogan, right? I mean, if he feels a little salty, does he feel a little salty to you guys? It's like,
I mean, when someone all caps like a sentence, that's pretty self-explanatory right there. Like, don't all caps unless you know what you're doing.
Does he realize we're just a bunch of people who get together and just have fun with the game and don't really care about all the other bullshit?
The thing is,
hey, McLeod, I can put you on now. Let me get your camera rolling, buddy.
I talked to Necro.
Sorry about that. I
didn't realize it.
I tried to join, but I didn't realize I actually didn't join. It still had the join button. I was like, oh, okay, sorry.
Can you just get him on the show just to clear this shit up himself?
Okay.
Whatever. Who cares?
Calling you out, Necro.
Give me a second. Let me see if he's available.
Let's see.
It'd be funny if we can get him on here and just say.
He came on here the day after it happened and told us all about it for like a half an hour. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Logan claims to be literally the Black Hand of Test, and you're saying he doesn't.
That's nice, but guess what, bitch? I talked to the guy.
No, I'm just going to say, again, from my experience in Legacy, the Black Hand of Test was utter shit and didn't know what was going on 2/3 of the time. So
Hey, if you
I would-
if you make all of the allegations right,
I don't think I
then
could home right now.
you know if you shotgun the allegations, then one of them's going to be correct. You just have to make sure that people forget about all of the other things that you claimed were going to happen. Right? That's the way.
So look, Necro's not on Discord right now, so he's probably out and about. But if he shows up sometime in the show, we'll pull him in.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna, edit McLeod's, NDI stream live. So just pardon that, folks.
It's fine. Where are our floating head jars? We've talked about this. We've got to get you guys in jars, just like Futurama.
Oh yeah, we do the head jars. Yeah, I gotta do a little work on that.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that next. Okay, so Legacy's moving and it's fantastic. I love it. Because I look forward to the fun. What else? We had so much happen this week. We talked a lot about it on Thursday, so I gotta remember that I haven't had all my discussions with you guys. What's your guys' next big thing that's happened this week that you want to talk about?
I wouldn't know, as I haven't really logged in 3 weeks.
I'm
So-
unfortunately going to fall down the rabbit hole of Night City. So.
Oh, you're doing
Can
the
you get it to load and play at more than 15 FPS?
I literally got it to load on a CPU that's 11 years old and doesn't have the actual instruction set for it to run. Yet I still can because I'm the fucking man right there.
I just want to say,
Aren't you?
whatever you
I
changed,
literally
McLeod.
I literally had to hack the executable of Cyberpunk in order to play Cyberpunk. It is literally a swordfish style fucking thing.
Was there a box of things coming together and you're drinking a bottle of wine with 15 computers around you?
In my head, yes.
Okay.
I just want to say, McLeod, whatever you've done, if you got a new camera, what the hell are you doing? You're crystal clear coming through.
You are
That's
crazy.
awesome. Crispy.
No, I actually haven't. I just have a shit ton of lighting around me. If you could see my if you could see my irises, though, you would probably think that I'm on drugs or something.
Are you?
No. Sorry.
I'm debating. I'm sitting here with a couple cigars. Should I just light a cigar up and then,
I don't know if
Blank.
Dictator Imperator is being trolly or serious that Cyberpunk on PS4 is the best game ever, considering that it's playing at 720p 15 FPS.
It's the best slideshow money can buy. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you watched LTT's Wang show earlier, right, McLeod? Because we were talking about
Yes.
the NVIDIA issue. But even in that,
Yes.
he turns around and talks about, oh God, when he played it on PS4 and he was doing a chase scene and it was a literal slideshow.
Okay, so one of the things that I saw on a video by Yongya, right, is he knew that there was something a little bit that it wasn't going to go that well on console because all of the pre-release kind of keys that were given out were for PC only. There was no pre-release kind of versions of the console releases for people to get an idea of how it played on consoles. So everyone's experience, for pre-release kind of reviews of Cyberpunk was all PC related, which actually is a better experience, quite considerably than on console. And that's that to him that was kind of like a sort of a forewarning almost. But they also said that they couldn't you couldn't show the pre-release gameplay until after the actual release, which is a little sad, but it is what it
And
is.
they DRM'd the game for benchmarking until day of release, right? Everyone who's playing it
Yeah.
trying to benchmark.
I mean, to be completely honest,
nerfed by DRM.
To
I
be
say
honest,
that
I'm playing
fully
it now.
on the DRM.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm playing it now on PC. I'm playing it on a X56 socket, which, if you know about socket types, like that is a fucking age-old socket. But I have a 6-core, 12-thread, 4 gigahertz CPU in there, and I've got a
Xeon.
1070 as well. So it's a Xeon, yeah.
Xeon.
And I'm playing it on a mixture of low, medium, and high settings. So like high textures, that kind of thing, medium and low. Like there's a when it comes to shadows, shadows are always really intensive as well. So you have to kind of like mix that around. But it doesn't look bad, right? Like in terms of games that I can play, it does not look bad as a game in any way, shape, or form. Of course, it can look a hell of a lot better, obviously, because I don't have a 4K display. I don't have a 3090, and I don't have fucking Ryzen 5. So it can look a lot better. But what I'm playing right now doesn't look bad, and it's not like I'm getting 15 frames. Like I'm getting anywhere between 55 and 75 frames. So like it doesn't play bad, it doesn't feel bad. But and I'm still playing it on like what I would consider to be terrible, sort of terrible PC specs. So I don't know how the console kind of thing is fucking up. Like, beats me.
I'm just waiting until the moment that CD Projekt Red come out and go, yeah, sorry, we accidentally left the ray tracing toggle on PS4 and Xbox. So,
I mean, it could be like, oh yeah, we haven't turned DLSS. Yeah, it's on ray tracing has been set on, and it doesn't have DLSS in any way.
yeah, I mean, PS5 could do the ray tracing. Don't get me wrong, but PS4 can't.
Yeah. And if you turn if you try and do ray tracing on something that isn't really designed for it, it'll slideshow the living crap out of your experience.
Yeah, just slightly.
I mean, I had to hack mine to work.
So, Don,
What?
have you ordered anything good on Amazon today?
No, not yet.
All right.
I'm distracted at the moment, but I'm a lazy fuck. Also, because I hate grocery shopping, and with the pandemic, I have been buying my groceries on Amazon.com the entire year, and it's been great. I've not had any issues. Everything I've asked for has arrived, or if it's not available, they don't pretend it's available and then not deliver it, or put some shitty substitution in. Like, you get what you asked for. If it's not available, it's just not available.
I have a problem somebody selecting my avocados or something for me. I don't know.
Honestly, they always come. I've never had my bananas be bad, or the asparagus that I get, or the broccoli I get, be a problem. So, maybe if I had those experiences, but normally it looks like a nice stalk of broccoli, nice bunch of asparagus, nice onion.
We couldn't find bananas for you, so we substituted
Here
for
is a PS4.
banana loaf.
I actually don't
Yeah,
like.
PS4.
Oh,
I don't like asparagus, but this restaurant we went to last night, it's the only place I'll eat asparagus. They cook it over charcoal. So good. So
So
good.
what you're saying is that you're not really there for the asparagus. You're there for the charcoal flavor.
No, actually, I was there for the giant steak, but yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yes,
I
yes.
think
the
honestly,
charcoal
if
flavor.
you,
And
I
the
think
cigar
honestly,
bar.
if you cook it right, most things are pretty nice. If you cook it wrong, or you're a terrible cook and you cook things really badly and incorrectly.
Oh, are we on the cooking portion
it's gonna
already?
taste like shit.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long has it been. I mean, it's almost 1:30. I mean, that's
I mean, I'm
That's
just gonna
only a
say,
half
if
an
you
hour
boil
in.
peas to nothingness, they taste like ass. But if you microwave peas, it's fucking awesome. They really taste nice. That's a little hack. Like, if you haven't microwaved peas, in terms of cooking peas, before, do it. It's a completely different experience.
so
By
I'm
the
gonna
way-
give you.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
if you aren't hideously opposed to the simple flavor of peas,
Well, I mean, let's just put it this way: I fucking hate the taste of peas. that are boiled. But like, I actually genuinely like the taste of peas that like you cook in the microwave. Like, literally, it's a night and day difference. Like, they're not waxy, they're really fucking juicy. It's fucking awesome.
Okay, so
Like,
I'm gonna give
The man likes
Let's
juicy
just put it
peas.
this way.
Let's put it that way. I like peas. I like split pea soup, split pea and ham soup, all that good stuff.
That sounds so wrong, but yeah.
So I'm gonna give you
I'm
guys
just gonna
like
put it out there.
a super easy recipe. This is almost like one pan salmon or one thing salmon. Just line a glass pan or even a metal pan with foil. Take salmon skin down. Put melted butter. Mix up melted butter, brown sugar, garlic powder, salt and pepper. Well, and then sprinkle salt and pepper on top. Pour it on the salmon, and then just put your vegetables on the side, either in butter or oil, like broccoli or asparagus. Put in the oven for about 15-20 minutes. It's like butter poached salmon. It's so fucking good. And there's like no effort. Like, I was afraid to cook salmon because I thought there was going to be like, that it was going to be difficult or whatever, because every time I've tried, it's always turned out awful. But I found that, and I was like, I could literally just, like, one time I just put a tab of butter on top with salt and pepper, and it worked still. And it was amazing.
Yeah, we get
Like, honestly, so there's a salmon recipe that I have every so often. Like, when you get like sort of, you know, salmon at an okay price, right? And I think it's like soy, ginger, garlic, and honey, pan-seared salmon. It's fucking lovely.
We just get, you know, the Costco with the pesto butter, you know, and just throw it in the oven and eat it. Terrible. Terrible. But yeah, that sounds good with the vegetables though, Don. We might do that with the next one we pull.
I mean, it was like, I just put broccoli on one half of, like, fresh broccoli, not frozen.
Right.
But I put, actually, frozen actually worked better because it was already cooked, so all I had to do was heat up. Put frozen on the side, coated it in butter, and then literally had salmon on the other half of the same pan, just baked them at the same time. There's no basting, because it's already basting itself with the butter. There's no, all I had to do was just keep checking it to make sure that like it's cooking through. And about 20 minutes in, it's done. I use a rice cooker to make rice at the same time, so you get nice butter. And you use big grains of salt, so like you get those little crunchy, salty bits as you're eating it. It's the only way. It's so good.
So
The added
good.
sound effect was epic there, by the way.
I'm trying. So, what else happened? Well, actually, Barguest and McLeod, I think you have some things you wanted to go, right?
Well, I don't know. We wanted to basically take a massive sledgehammer and smash on Nvidia for a little while, but like, I don't know when we want to do that. Like, because they decided that they wanted to show their Dr. Evil kind of side of themselves this week. Let's put it this way, that way.
And for those of you in chat, yes, we have a cooking section of the show. What, 2 months running now?
Absolutely. We have to talk about food.
At least for part of it. So just sometimes it's at the end, sometimes it's earlier.
It's a hell of a lot more than 2 months.
Probably. That's just when I've been here hanging out.
I'm just thinking, like, what kind of cookery style stuff have I been looking at like this week?
So
I'm sure like many people, like you're subscribed to something cookery based in some way, shape or form on YouTube, and they every so often bring out something.
So the only thing I didn't talk about on Thursday was the Japanese localization.
Oh, let's talk about that.
I mean, I don't speak
I
Japanese.
thought we already had Japanese localization.
No, they said that they were working on it, and now it's officially gone out this week. So now we're going to get the 10 people from Japan joining us. Be great.
Yeah, and the entire Portuguese and sort of Spanish speaking population can go fuck themselves apparently.
Yeah, there's none of those in the world.
Yeah, not many.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently
Jeez.
Spain sort of back in the day didn't actually, didn't travel the world and populate various different areas. Like they just kept themselves to themselves, I believe.
Yeah, totally, for sure. And then, so I mean, it is cool that they're adding more languages in because we had the Korean one, and then we've got the Japanese one. What language would you think is next?
I mean, not gonna lie, you definitely do not expect the Japanese Inquisition.
No, I would not expect that.
Is
But
there Onion's Lord, Orion's Lord? Sorry, Onion's Lord Orion. I think I like Onion's Lord better. Wants to know if there's any news.
No.
Oh, news. There was Open Comms was a beautiful disaster to watch last night. So I recommend everybody go check that out. There was real good stuff in there mixed in with Dirk basically saying some stuff that it would not allow you to maybe be partner on Twitch. Also, which some of it may or may not violate Twitch's new terms of service with sexual content. So I read that one.
I mean, sexual content. Was that a slip of the tongue or was that deliberate? I'm not sure.
For this week. Here, if people want Eve news for this week, here's an item. Okay, CCP decided to completely fuck up drones and then rolled back drones. So CCP has done no changes to drones as of their next update.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
there you go, Eve news.
I think it's because like they didn't realize the coding with how the coding worked on the drones was like it was all or nothing with them. Because like the biggest people, pointing things out was incursions. They couldn't use their drone bunnies at all. But also like people who rat in four nesters and like wormholes and stuff couldn't do their shit. Gate camps weren't working correctly.
We mustn't upset the ratting wormholers.
I'm just saying.
Collateral damage.
It is.
Oh no!
It is let's be honest here. While I complain about the fact that I can't Rorqual mine, I'm gonna be give some other play styles a little bit of some
look. I don't actually begrudge the guys who are ratting in wormholes their profits. They have to get their loot out and sell it, and I totally understand that. I lived in wormholes for a few years. I was one of those guys. That's a valid way to make money, and their playstyle is as valid as anyone else's. What I object to is CCP's consistent stance of, yep, we're totally gonna freaking beat the income into the ground for everybody. Oh, except you guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. CCP's stance basically has been we basically want to shit on Sov Nullsec's kind of means and methods of creating money. Like honestly.
But
I think I said this last week.
It's not just Sovnull anymore, though. Like they're starting to do this with Lowsec too.
So I'd like to report something in the meantime. I have been running
the
level 4
dynamic
missions.
bounty system is active in Lowsec now, I think, too.
Yes, it is.
So yeah.
Get fucked.
Wait until it gets to HighSec and you have like mission hubs where
oh
the
god,
rats
shut
don't
up!
actually
Shut up!
get you any money.
Oh, don't tell them that. No, I
like
just
where
have
the entire Forge and Citadel have negative multipliers for their ratting.
So breaking news. I have been running level 4 missions for over a year now straight in one area, and I just got a mission I've never had before.
Wow.
I am so
I've never
sorry.
had this mission.
I am
I had
so
to go
sorry
look it
that
up.
CCP has forced you into this life, Dawn.
No, I've been making billions for
No,
a year.
I know you've
is
been
a-
making bank on it, but like
It's a business.
Jesus Christ, how many times do you have to save that damsel?
Oh, well, I know. That stupid bitch. If I could just leave her there to be cruel sex slave, I would, but I have to take her home.
It's like at this point you're not being kidnapped. At this point you're complicit in this constantly.
No, it's called Pirate Slaughter. And I've never ever had this mission before. I had to go look it up to see like what was involved in it to make sure like I don't like go into like a death trap. Because it's a lot of points, so it looks like I should be able to do it.
The funny thing is, like, it was quite a long time ago, but I wanted to sort of come up with a way of making missions more dynamic, more kind of like interesting, and kind of more sort of so it's not just cut and dry that all the time, right? And my thought process on that was you had actual, you almost matchmaked people, and you put two people on opposite sides of, basically a mission, and they couldn't directly attack each other, but they could attack the NPCs of the other side and rep the NPCs of the other side of their side.
Are you trying to make me
it was
use
kind
a
of an
Leshak?
interesting way. I thought that was kind of an interesting way of doing it, but like there's also, I think you can. I think that's basically what kind of transpired with with the EdenCom and Trig stuff, right? I hope that someone in CCP has the foresight of going, we could make missions interesting with this.
Cloud,
I
don't
just-
need foresight for it when half of us in the King community participating in that have been screaming that this is a perfect replacement for missions and null rats.
Yeah, I know, but like
Well,
I'm saying,
okay, first
I'm
off-
saying, I'm saying like this was something that I was. I think
Look.
I think I actually posted on the features and ideas kind of discussion forum on the old Evo forums, like literally 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that.
Before we go looking for CCP to take any lessons from the Trig versus EdenCom shit,
That shit was awful.
they
No.
need to fix the Trig versus EdenCom shit and what they did to the players who chose one of those sides.
Yeah, EdenCom got.
They made it easier, remember?
EdenCom got no. It doesn't matter that made it easier. There is absolutely no downside for any of the people who chose Trigs, and nothing but downside for the people who chose EdenCom.
And
So
then the people
what
who
the
are
hell was the
gotta-
point?
You got a nice jacket though, Horrendous.
and the people who did nothing
Yeah,
have the same amount of impact. Actually, have less work to do now if they want to enjoy Poshfed.
Right.
Hold on. Yeah, ironically, the people who sat it out and didn't participate are in a better position right now than anyone else. Because if you took the side of EdenCom, you have to grind back your trig standings to get into Pochven properly. However, if you took the side of the trigs, and I mean, don't get me wrong, this isn't as bad an issue, but it's still crappy. You have effectively, yes, you've got access to Pochven, but you've locked yourself out of high-sec routes. And you got to grind that back.
Oh, no. Let's talk about that. Okay, so if you've done nothing, you still can't get through fucking high-sec because there's random trig spaces in pipe systems, and you have no choice.
Easier. Because if you've done
I know, if you get a little bit, you'll get...
you
it'll be
jump
fine,
into
but-
Pochven, you fucking target painter a single rat, and you're positive to both sides.
Yeah.
Well,
It
wait
takes-
a minute here. When you say they've locked themselves out of high-sec routes, are you just talking about the EdenCom systems? Because, I helped take systems away from the Caldari State. The Caldari State still loves me. Just doesn't seem like it makes a whole lot of fucking sense.
Oh, horrendous! If we're going down that particular rabbit hole, there is a literal ton of stuff. In that regard
there really
that does
is.
not make any sense whatsoever.
There really is. But, if they're trying to do this whole thing where they actually want people to give a crap about the story they're trying to tell, they need their story to make fucking sense.
Don't get me wrong, the story itself made sense, right? The actions they took in the game world didn't. And then they've just dropped the story off a fucking cliff. I have not heard anything
It was,
in months about Trigs since they got Pochven.
It was funny actually because I specifically remember talking to Bard and a couple of other people about what was going to happen when Pochven kind of started to coalesce into its own region, sort of thing, and all of the sort of hints and things that were being dropped in that were being seen in Hobo leaks and stuff, and that was like I don't know whether it was just us kind of taking things and running with it too far, but there was a lot of stuff that was kind of being put about that essentially made a really interesting situation potentially from happening in Jeddah that would have been fucking cool to see and to play out.
We had
And it just
hints
didn't
of-
happen.
We had hints of some kind of invasion going on in Jita, and we weren't even sure what side the Trigs were going to be on because it wasn't following the traditional content spawners for Trigs
Okay,
invasions.
but that was never going to happen. Jita
But here's the thing.
is exempted from basically anything ever actually happening
No,
in
but
Jita.
Whenever we
so the thing
specifically-
is,
Train.
Hold on.
the
Luca.
thing is,
When we specifically spoke to devs, right, and we said, look, is Jita ever going to have anything? Because as far as we're aware, as you say, Arendis, it's on the exemption list. They went, yes, it's on the exemption list, but that never rules anything out for the story. If we want it to happen, it will happen.
they
It's
can
never
make
going to happen.
they can make aspects of the story unfold how they want it to unfold. Like they have a way of being able to basically obfuscate what's going to happen and bring it the way that they want it to, bring it the direction that they want it to bring. So they could have done a
Sure, they have the
a-
tools to do it, but they're never going to do it. Let's be honest.
I don't know.
'cause
Like,
it,
No, we
I
all
mean,
know.
that's the thing. It
So
could have
hold
been
on.
so fucking cool.
yeah, for what it's worth, it was never hinted at a Trigs take Jita.
No,
What I was going to get to a minute ago, sorry, was the spawners were implying that someone else attacks Jita, and the Trigs defended it, or something like that. Like, it was really fucking weird. And
Like,
it was
they were-
an event if they actually did it. And
Okay, the
it's
Trigs fucked over perimeter then later, so it's fine.
true.
Which was hilarious.
but I think we even got to the point where like Jovians might have actually been involved, and that would have been some really fucking cool shit as well.
Bring back
yeah,
the drifters.
I was leaning on Drifters, Dave. Like,
Oh.
Don't they have this whole race they've done nothing with?
Drifter's coming in, Jove's coming in to
Done
defend.
nothing. We've got the Moksha Chorus, which is something that we thought was being hinted to for Nova, and then Nova got pushed back, but the
Yeah.
Moksha kept going, and then the Moksha just got dropped. So we don't know what the Sancha deal is that's going on, but we know there's something going on there, and it's like, the fuck?
Have any of you done the winter stuff at all yet?
I'm doing it right now.
Is it cool or is it shitty?
Well, I've just been
heard-
doing the hacking sites and the mining sites mostly because it can't be fucked with combat sites. The competition is just too much. I just can't
And,
bother
and,
with it.
and is it correct that the mining sites only industrials can go inside?
Don't know. I took an endurance thing because I was lazy and that's all I had lying around. But I've only seen mining ships inside, so it's possibly true.
Fuck yeah.
Can I use a comment in chat to segue into another point that I think we haven't talked about?
And what is that?
Dictator Imperator, you want CCP to make good things. Remove the actual game designer who came from troll Reddit idea, and game will be more engaging, I presume that says. Yeah, have we talked about Ratati?
Please
We
don't.
haven't talked about Rotati at all. I kind of was wondering whether we should or not. I kind of wanted to, but it was also.
Oh, we
a case
already
of, like,
talked about it
how
on
strong is the
Thursday, so-
evidence. There was also how strong is the evidence as well. Like, and it's not hearsay because it's actually like it's
we know
it's
his LinkedIn page has changed.
yeah, exactly. It's something that he influences himself, so it comes literally from his fingertips.
For context of everyone. who
Okay,
is
well, now that you said a whole
wondering
lot of
Nothing.
We talked about it on Thursday. You should watch our show occasionally.
Yeah, some people here won't watch it though, right? Like, no offense.
I feel I've missed
Why
something.
you
What's
gotta
going
be
on?
like that?
Okay.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if
you
people
gotta
will
be
watch it,
like
people
that?
Context.
How about
Sorry.
for people who
Hmm.
didn't watch it? What the hell
Well,
are you
thank
talking about?
So
For ti-
I came across a comment the other day in passing in a Discord that was basically, they're rolling back the drone changes, they're doing the changes to mining and adding some more ore in, isn't it funny that that's happening after Ratati's LinkedIn page has changed his departments in CCP? Now, at the time, it was okay. I'm going to, as McLeod said, I don't know the truth to
Changed
that.
from to what?
Okay, hold on. Let me get to that. So I asked Dirk to run it up. Dirk then told Dawn, and they ran with it Thursday. He has changed from, I don't know what the full title was, but ecosystem team to, what was it, McLeod?
Director of product.
Director of product.
Yeah.
Dawn had it.
He's no longer head of ecosystem team, but it also looks like he's stepped up, maybe? Or moved to a...
Well, step up or step aside, I'm not sure. But like,
Well, you know the Dilbert principle, right? You're promoted
Step
to the
aside
place
is
where you
probably
do
the
the least
wrong-
amount of damage.
stepping aside is probably the wrong kind of
Okay,
the wrong
let's
way of
just
saying
keep
it.
in
Sorry
mind
about
here.
that.
Let's just keep in mind here, ecosystem, right? When Dirk and I interviewed him, literally the first question we had for him was, so you're working on the ecosystem. Is there anything in EVE that isn't part of the ecosystem, or are you basically in charge of all of it? And he flat out admitted, yeah, I don't know of anything in EVE that's not part of the ecosystem. So if they've just given him a title of director of product, take that to mean nothing has really changed. They're just admitting that, guess what? This was always everything.
That's always possible.
Title that belonged to someone else prior.
Who?
That wasn't I don't remember the dev name, but it was, they've got their...
Oh no, that was marketing, wasn't it?
They had marketing, director of product, and whatever burger is. Creative director.
The
They
Burgermeister
had the
Meisterburger?
Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from, but I'm not sure what
said,
the
If that's
specifics were.
true, if that's true, and he stepped into that third spot, I'm actually more scared.
Wasn't that Quant's old role?
No, that was something else entirely. Can't think it off the head.
Because he was like some kind of business analyst towards the end before he left, wasn't he?
So it is an interesting point, Arendis, that you made, because like I was there thinking to myself, well, if he's not part of the ecosystem team anymore, he was the only person with prior ecosystem or ecosystem management kind of experience on the team. But obviously, Arendis, if what you say is true, and that makes a lot of sense as well, he's still in that team. It's just he's
Right.
not like in the weeds of it. He's kind of like, on the ladder directing everybody.
Yeah.
I would expect that's probably what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, obviously, at the time, the hope was he's out of the way, right? If he's out of the way,
Yeah, maybe not. But he might be able to more effectively. The thing is, we don't know specifically whether what has transpired is entirely and 100% based on his decisions and the time frame that he wanted the decisions to be made. But if anything, if this is still him in control of the ecosystems team, but as a more managerial kind of role, he might have more say in the speed and the time frame.
that's still
So he may be able to slow it down.
that still
is what I'm
scares me
saying.
more though, because
Oh yes, because I so want to go slower. I don't need ore or moons or anything in any.
I don't mean it
still
like
say
that.
6
I
months
don't
to a
mean it-
year.
I don't mean it like that, Dawn. I mean it like, making it before making decisions, actually looking to see what it's going to affect.
I don't believe
Because
so.
that's the issue that we have at the moment, is decisions were made as to what direction to go, and all of the academic kind of work that was required in order to see how it's going to affect not just the sort of abstract aspects of the game, but more of the critical kind of aspects of the game regarding how players play the game. That wasn't really taken into account. That was more like, they'll get over it, they'll just adapt, it's fine. And clearly, some people were completely fine with doing the adaptation to that because they weren't really involved in it whatsoever. Other people were like, fuck this shit, this isn't my life, I can go and do other things that I enjoy more than playing this or being part of this.
Are we getting into this is bullshit mode?
So, yeah, kind of.
I'm all down for that.
So that's how I see it. Like, if he's got more control over, the academic sort of aspect of looking at how everything's interconnected, both like game elements as well as, sociological and psychological kind of like, how players play the game, how players react to stuff in the game, then maybe we might actually see more changes, positive changes for the game, but with less terribleness attached onto it.
I'd envy with you there, McLeod, but let's
yeah, I know
that was
that's
on
me being positive,
saying, trust us, and being a smug twat.
The thing is, right, I said all of that, but that was all based on the principle of him having more say in basically being a very positive kind of like him having more say. Yeah, him having more say in how things go, how things kind of like play out in a time frame, but also kind of having the ball in his court and being positive as to him wanting to do something positive for the players, not just for the game. But that's all assumption as well. So read into that what you want.
Basically, you being
I hope for the best, but I want to plan for the worst, which is why I'm playing Cyberpunk.
Well, I was going to ask. So I talked about this on Thursday a little bit, but how much PvE are any of you doing now compared to what you did before?
I have not mined any of the moons I own in 3 weeks. I have not logged in 3 weeks. Yeah, nothing.
I burnt money and fuel going to Curse and to into on deployment. I have not mined in HiSec with my orcas in a while, even though it's still completely fine. It's just I'm not mining. You
just don't want to do it.
I do want to do it. It's just the best way of doing it is to basically do it for a long period of time. And when you have a deployment and fleets going like pinging for fleets constantly, you can't set up mining and then go, oh crap, I have to swap characters, and then come back and then swap characters every 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's really awkward, right? Because the whole idea of mining, using an orca to mine the HiSec is
should be able to just set it and forget it.
Set it up, leave it, and you slowly cruise kind of money, right?
Even if it's not a lot of money, you're still getting something that
Yeah, exactly. But if you're logging it off all the time because you're going on fleets and all that kind of stuff, then there's not really that much point. So.
I think I've done more PvE today than I've done the last 6 months. And as soon as I've got all 650 points for the event stuff, I'll probably stop.
The nice thing about the initiative is they're being proactive in terms of seeing the state of PvE at the moment and kind of directing people in the initiative on ways of making money that is a little bit more beneficial to their time and also beneficial for the alliance and where we're positioned essentially.
And that's
essentially what it means is Fountain doesn't mean fuck all to us. So if you're on the other side and looking to sort of get that kind of moral victory of blowing stuff up in Fountain, it means dick all to us because literally CCP has literally put the flags up saying this content is worthless. So
that's kind of what I was getting at. It's
worthless.
Usually in wartime PvE goes down, which is fine because people are split, as we said, attention wise, or things are more dangerous, so it is expected PvE to go down. But throughout the last 2 wars before this one, I mined every single day for 5, 6, 7 hours in the evening, just hanging out. And I was at my computer doing stuff. I was not AFK. I was there because you couldn't be AFK or else you were going to die. And now the only PvE I do is my high-seg mission running that I do for a business, not even because I like running level 4s. And then I'll do maybe something else in high-sec occasionally. But, and even that I don't do as much as I did before.
I did wonder when you said that you were doing high-sec mission running. I was like, are you I thought to myself, like, are you okay? Do you need somebody to speak to, kind of thing? Like,
Don't get me wrong here. I use a golem, so I love getting to use. I never got to eat. When I first started this game, I was like, I want to fly a paladin. It looks so cool. It's amazing. I want to fly a marauder. And I started training, and it takes a long time when you're just like not buying injectors to train into a marauder, along with also trying to train into the ships you need for like incursions and stuff. And it was the first week of May. I finished my paladin. I was ready to go, and this was just to get in it and use everything on it, not even to be good at it. And then we moved to Delve, and I never got to use my paladin.
okay.
So this is more
Bud,
of a. This is like I get to use my paladin.
Sorry, Dawn. Yeah, McLeod. So I was going to say, right, you say that is Dawn insane for doing level 4s, right? But as it stands, level 4s are actually more ISK per hour with significantly less risk.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, I'm not saying that. Like,
It's fucking insane.
I'm not saying that you're.
that.
I'm not saying that you're crazy for doing level 4s. It's just like the tolerance for monotony and like boredom. In order to do level 4s, it is well beyond my capacity. Let's put it that way.
Well, I've added an extra element to make it not so boring for myself. But you want to talk about no risk? That is bullshit. I have died because this was a very painful loss, but it did cause me to be much more careful. I'm
saying risk than no rank.
No, actually, because I got killed in a 0.9 system undocking from a station by 5 tornadoes in my golem. So you want to talk?
Unlocking from a station.
I undocked from a station. I looked at my YouTube to click the skip ad button, looked back, and I was dead. I lost a 3.5 billion ISK golem because of that. And I just sat there and was just like, what? So now anytime
there is a point in
I thought in a 0.9 I'd
build.
be okay. I learned my lesson.
There is a point in every build where the cost of the build it makes the flying of said ship or said build dangerous anywhere, especially in high sec. Like for freighter pilots know this all too well.
Yep.
Because McLeod can probably speak to the same as me. You've got orcas, I've got orcas. Any of them being killed?
I was the funny thing is, like,
the rats are more dangerous.
I showed Bard my fit, and he was like, "Why the fuck are you running those fits?" And I'm like, "Because that gets me 90% of the way there for like 1/20th of the cost, and who's going to shoot a fucking orca that's worth less than the actual ammo that like you use to shoot it? Like, there is literally no reason to blow me up, apart from goons. But if you're on their whitelist, if you're on their cleared list, then you're not going to get shot by goons.
I mean, that was the other thing I was going to get to with Dawn, right? The only thing I would say that you're definitely at risk from when level 4 ranking in an expensive ship in high sec is our own guys doing.
No, I'm not. I'm actually blue to goons, so no one's going to shoot me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm talking about people that randomly go out there, right?
Oh yeah. I was at a 0.9, so I thought there's
mission run it massacred.
I didn't realize that you could 2-shot a golem.
Never.
So I didn't think that.
Never
like,
think.
I didn't
Never think
realize
that you're
it, so.
safe in any in any
yeah,
kind of security.
I was just like,
system.
I was like, okay, so I moved systems. I checked the Z-kill and I moved systems to a new location. And now every time I undock, I just check to make sure there's no tornadoes or anything substantial on the undock. Because you do have that small invulnerability window where you can dock back up. So like, I just watch for that, and that's what I'm doing now.
If you've set up like correct, and I stress the word correct, undock insta warps, because there's a correct way of making undock insta warps and there's an incorrect way of making undock insta warps. Basically, when you undock from any station, like there is basically, it's like a cone. Think of it as like there's a point at which like all ships are going to be like going from a vector from, and there's like a nice kind of spread cone that this happens, right? If you make an undock and like you've made that undock by just undocking and then burning that direction, that could be on one of the extreme edges of that cone of undocking kind of like space that you kind of come out on. And if you undock at some other point on the opposite side of that and expect to insta warp to that new insta warp that you created, like it may take too long for you to insta warp and you can get locked and killed. Like you have to find where the midpoint of that cone is, and that gives you the best insta warp, undock insta warp.
Yeah, I just pay attention when I undock now. So.
Yeah, so the other way of that is just to undock in something that doesn't cost a shitload, and take a look outside and see if there's 4 or 5 like tornadoes just sitting out there.
Exactly. Well, I've also been making friends with the locals, so
that also helps.
Hopefully we can work out a deal if necessary. Anytime someone's like suspect for like stealing shit, because like that's what a lot of people do to like try and like get a fight to start, I just set them -10 immediately so I know what they're doing.
So Bullet Sponge in chat says, mental note, fly T1 battleships for missions. Yeah, I personally run
Ravens?
a Praxis. I run a Praxis that is just tank fit and had until they stopped it and now returned it, but passive drones, right? And I just don't care how long the mission takes, because I have 10 Praxis just AFK doing the missions.
The Raven just got a buff with torpedoes, so that actually is a really good ship down for it. So
we as is always the case, the initiative will carry on using cruisers on our Ravens,
of course,
because that is always the best option.
So, all right, what else happened this week? Because I'm sure chat loves hearing about level 4 mission drama and the plights of Isaac. But this is what they brought me to. This is all I can do. There's no PvE. It is such a hassle to try to do any other PvE in this fucking game right now.
Oh yeah, don't even get me started on fucking Abyssals. Abyssals are great. Who just are ending it?
Yeah,
he's got a meeting.
Like
it's his meeting.
He's like they're talking about triangles. Like, I have to go.
Yeah,
no, he has a meeting.
Triangle Man.
Okay, so
is that what we're talking about? Triangle Man.
So Abyssals are great. Don't get me wrong. However, it's not great when CCP constantly has server issues that keep disconnecting you, and they refuse to refund you.
There is that. The other issue there is it doesn't. It's both a positive and a negative, right? Like it's a positive in terms of like you can engage in playing EVE Online in 20 minutes, but it also is, you don't have to put down anything, to be able to, to be able to access that content, or to be able to build that content up to the point where you can access that content. Like it's literally just buy a filament, get in his ship, open that filament, jump in, do your thing.
Yes, especially if you start at low levels, right?
And that's all fair and well and nice and everything like that. I understand those, like the instant kind of action aspect of that. But there is also another aspect of, even though that is instant action and access, it doesn't tie you to staying once that content becomes very samey.
Yes.
There's a reason why people, try and lay down roots in this game, and a lot of it is down to, creating meaningful relationships and stuff with people, and unless you're doing, like Abyssals in like 2s and 3s, which maybe you might be doing, but a lot of people are doing mission, a lot of people are multi-boxing them so they don't have to talk to other people. And it's kind of like the the beautifulness of Eve as a massively multiplayer online game is diluted for that,
Yes.
which is
I mean,
unfortunate.
I saw a great. Oh God, I hate this. I saw a great Reddit comment the other day. Yes, ooh, Reddit.
No, you didn't. You're lying now.
Yeah.
No. The person made a.
Let's go.
It was
Bullshit! Bullshit! Sorry. You said Reddit. Sorry. Just had to sneeze or something, cough. I'm not sure what it is.
No, so it was just talking about CCP's development decisions, and it was. Oh God, I'm actually wondering if it was Dave's point now. I'm wondering if it was yours. And it was basically, imagine going back to 2015 and telling the player base that from 2018 onwards they would be doing instanced PvE. They would flip the fucking table. And
Well-
here we are advocating it as the main way to make ISK now.
Yeah, that's that's the unfortunate aspect of it is when, is when you, so. Okay, this is kind of like something that I've been kind of keeping an eye on, and it's starting to show, it's starting to become a trend to CCP and to EVE Online as of late, right? And what it is essentially keep an eye, was essentially me saying keep an eye, like to myself, keep an eye on how many gameplay styles are being removed from EVE Online.
Or
every
made
single-
so
like-
impossible to do.
or
it's
yeah,
kind of
or made
basically
so
called.
impossible to, yeah, like Don says, like, or made so impossible to do that it is just not viable. Like there's no reason to do it over something else. So essentially you make it redundant, right? It has been happening more and more and more and more, like as of late. And I don't mean in terms of like, along a timeline, more and more playstyles being removed. Because like, when you add new stuff to the game, that will happen gradually anyway. But what I'm saying is the frequency of that happening is accelerating for some reason, and I don't know why. And I don't know whether this is something that is deliberately being done by CCP, or whether they've just not realized that what they're doing is they're just burning the fields of additional gameplay styles that people enjoy, and forcing them to areas where they don't want to enjoy. Like there's a style of people who enjoy mining, and it's not for the AFK mining aspect of it. It's doing something that gives them something positive in the game over a long period of time, but it also allows them to have that social experience with a lot of other people, like just chilling, relaxing, talking to people, while enjoying and playing the same game as each other, right?
Well, for me, it's my version of hunting in the game, because I'm looking for that really good site. I'm looking for that ore that's going to be more beneficial or exactly what I like, and getting one up over other miners. Like there are times where you don't tell other people, like, hey, I just found an Arcanor pocket or something, right? So even and then you've got people trying to kill you constantly, even in high sec.
But the thing is, Dawn, you have that you have that period of time where you can talk to people. You're not like,
exactly.
You're not so heavily engaged in the content that you can't, you can't converse with people in a relaxed way, like, because that'll basically mean that you end up dying. Like it's not that kind of content. But what I'm saying is, like, content, like styles of content are being removed from the game that people enjoy, and when they can't access that content, they go find it somewhere else. And if that somewhere else isn't EVE Online, then EVE Online suffers. So what I'm saying is,
I would.
You just
and
played
so what
into
I'm
what I
saying
wanted.
is,
Trap guy.
yeah. And so what I'm saying is, CCP, please understand this and realize the fact that, like, the more you remove types of content from the game, the more you're going to remove people wanting to play your game.
So, I would love, because I would love to support that theory. Okay, and while I've seen entire corporations disappear overnight due to some of those changes, right? I've seen things evaporate when the effective, like the Eve bar, let's just call it, nobody's at the Eve Cheers bar, right? Hanging out, mining some rocks, drinking some beers in the evening after a stressful day at work, right? But when you look at the numbers in Eve, right, it doesn't work on our side having that conversation, right? Because the numbers are up, right?
The numbers
And the question let me finish. The question is,
it's such a bad metric, Eric, because you
I
can't look into that number and
but let me finish. Let me finish.
Certainty,
right? Yeah. Let me finish. Right. So the numbers are up, and whether that's due to socioeconomic things going on globally, right? Which absolutely, right? CCP has notoriously not understood their own metrics and numbers, right? And made decisions based on them that were poor, right? So the numbers are up. So the question, CCP will unequivocally use, hey, we've got more players, so what we've been doing is good for the game, right?
Okay, so
that's what they're going to say.
You're wrong. You're saying that they're looking at it in their own way and going, herder, it's not coronavirus, it's we're doing great.
Yeah, we're doing the right things in the game, whereas... Well, where would your numbers be if you actually did real research amongst your users, right? Real surveys amongst your users, whether the direction was going correctly or not, right? And looking at the people, looking at your loss ratio over the years, right? And who hasn't returned, right? So there are other ways to look at it, but I'm going to tell you, as long as the income is going up and as long as the online numbers are going up, they're going to say everything we're doing is working. And maybe we could be in the 40K area if they didn't do that stuff. I don't know. But that's what's working against us with that argument.
Yeah.
So I'm playing devil's advocate, really, right?
Point, McLeod.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Because you said about that a minute ago, right? And it ties exactly into what I wanted to say, and I was trying to find a way to do it until you said that. And it was a comment I made in reply in a Discord the other day that I still have and I've got open now. And it was talking about the butterfly effect and how it's dead because they've killed stuff and you can't kind of kill someone, cause a butterfly effect and whatnot. I said, it's not dead so much as it's being turned against us as a player base right now. The nerfs to mining, ratting, and other content have left less people participating in that content. And thus, by extension, has spiraled into less people in space as content for PvP. By doing so, you've got less minerals, more expensive ships, which makes it again more difficult PvP. The next part to go in the chain will be industrialists, as currently they're being squeezed out of the market due to said undersupply of materials and minerals, at which point ships rise even further in price, even if CCP now bring ore back, because at this point you now have a lack of players producing the ships using the new ore. Then comes the screaming from people about ships too expensive to be able to go out on fun roams, which again pushes out more players from the player base. And before you know it, you've invented a stagflation-induced death spiral as sections of the community quit the game, followed by another form of content and its community that was entirely reliant on the prior group collapsing itself and leaving the game. On and on until you have no one left. CCP have already started that chain over the last year.
Like that's
It's going to be slow to go at the first, but it will drop fast.
Like that's sort of like, the death spiral that people sort of talk about sometimes, right? And obviously, like, there's always people who say, who would claim like, oh, we're on that death spiral. Like, but the thing is, the death, like there is a point of no return. There's you are going to be on that spiral in some way, shape, or form at all points, right? But there is a point. There is a what the fuck is the term? Like the term in terms of black hole. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh my god, I know what you're talking about. It's just
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon.
There you
like
go. Yeah. That's the one.
Or the
so there's the precipice,
point
the
of
Event
no
Horizon. where there's a point of no return that basically people are starting to leave in droves because because things are collapsing on themselves. Like, we're not at that point yet, but we're the ship is pointing in the direction of, and that needs to change.
Imagine Eve.
I mean,
without lockdowns all over the world and coronavirus. And imagine Eve. Let's put that into effect. And imagine Eve if there was no giant war going on, and they did all this stuff. Where would you be?
The only thing holding it together is the war and coronavirus.
Pretty much.
So I would say there is that, but there is also, I think there is also a sort of like a third kind of aspect that is also increasing the player rate, and that is because CCP, along with CCP eventually finally kind of like taking all the hints from the CSM, realizing that there was a significant issue with HiSec and with people being killed in HiSec and corpse being run out of the game in HiSec, and they eventually solved that. And finally, that kind of aspect of the game is starting to produce results at an increasing rate. And I kind of feel like the HiSec aspect of that, in terms of like getting people in the game, getting people into corporations, and those corporations not being run out of the game, is actually starting to pick up pace. And I kind of feel like that is definitely one aspect of it.
It was, yeah, but
that is a presumption based on. I haven't heard anybody saying, that HiSec is broken, from a, people shitting on other people kind of aspect of it. And, when you change something so dramatic as to what, CCP did when they fucked over HiSec gankers and that kind of thing. Or the HiSec war deck kind of situation. Sorry, not gankers, but the HiSec war deck kind of situation. That stuff takes a while for people to propagate, and for people to realize that, oh, this has changed. We can come back in the game without getting hounded by toxic player types, right? It takes a while for that to start to pick up pace, and I think it's starting to pick up pace. But that is my presumption. I don't know, because we don't have the numbers for that. I just haven't heard anything negative against that yet. In the last few years.
All right.
Can I grab two things out of chat and just address them quick?
Sure.
Bullet Sponge. Again, I don't know how he just keeps hitting the nail on the head with bits and pieces here and there. You do not want to exceed the content risk versus reward barrier. 500 million ISK for a T1 battleship is not where you want the market to go. Yeah, that's pretty much what that middle paragraph of my thing was, right? Battleships go too high, you push it above a risk reward barrier, and people don't go out for fun roams. And it just kills.
Unless you just have so much money, it doesn't matter. But even then,
I remember when half a bill.
And Dawn, ISK doesn't mean minerals. If you don't have the minerals there and no production there, you don't have the ships. And if the production has entirely collapsed, so follows the PvP because there's no supply. The other bit I want to grab quick is Goonie DuPont saying he'd be gone, many other people would. I'm going to phrase this very carefully because I know there are certain people trying to play but Goons will be leaving the game after the war. I'm going to say that, yes, I can probably see a lot of people leaving the game after the war, but from all sides.
Yeah.
Not because of the war, but because of CCP's decisions. And you can see it, and Dave will say this, right? Because he also uses Reddit. But there were entire threads last week where there were people from Horde, Goons, Test, NC, Frat, all sitting down and going, yeah, CCP is utterly shit at this point. Regardless of our spin on this war, I'm probably leaving after the war is over. Because of said decisions.
Nothing brings Reddit together like a good shit on CCP session, let's put it that way.
I mean, yeah, Reddit doesn't have shit on CCP, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
like it was just it was a spinless thread in terms of the war, and everyone was there like, yeah, we're probably all gonna just quit and go play something else.
Don't get me wrong, there are some things that I myself, with what I like to do, am curious on if I can make it happen or not. Do I think it's like something that could be viable for long term or anything? No, but it, like trying to basically like take advantage of the mining availability in LowSec with an actual like coordinated group to do it instead of trying to do it on your own. I don't know if it would go terribly or if I'd even have the option to do it. But that's like when they moved like the really good stuff basically to LowSec, I'm like, man, if we weren't at war right now, I would be so happy to try and figure out how to make that work. So that's the only thing I'm kind of looking forward to the end of the war. Whatever happens to try and make it work.
I'm scared at risk saying good stuff about CCP.
No. I noticed that one too.
Now that I've seen what he said, yes,
I noticed that one too. But that's fine, Bard, because like he'll be our yang. He'll be the yang to our yin. Like that's how.
No.
Why can't he be the yin to our yang?
Praising them for that stuff is fine, right? As much as we bash them, I guess in a sense we have got to praise them when they actually do stuff right.
Mm-hmm.
Like recognizing they broke things and to fix it as quickly as possible.
I'm still pissed that they broke it in the first place and ignored the entirety of CSM before even announcing it.
Details.
Oh yeah. Can't listen to the CSM because they don't have the good of the game in their mind at all. It's the exact reason we elect them is because.
By the way, Eric, I got my Amazon order in, so it should be here tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I ordered while we were online here a candy cane scented candle.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. Root candles, by the way. I love root candles. They're made with beeswax. They're wonderful.
So I wanted my point of contention that I brought up before the show started was some people on Open Comms last night were praising Cloaky camping and how amazing it is. And I will forever say that Cloaky camping is a terrible gameplay style and it should fucking die.
Hey, Dawn, just remember, wormholes don't have issues with Cloaky camping. So why
because they don't
deal with
because you don't have a Sino with 150 bombers dropping on you at a moment's notice.
Dawn
I fucking bet you. I fucking bet you. No, I fucking.
I have flashbacks.
If CCP changed wormhole space, that meant that you can Sino to and from different areas of wormhole space, but you obviously couldn't Sino into wormhole space because wormhole
you mean
space,
like how
as we know from the mapped kind of from the I think it was the Atlas mappings, not experiment, like the program that they did to actually map where the fuck wormhole space is. You obviously cannot jump. You obviously cannot jump anything from HiSec into wormhole space using a Sino. Like it's far too far away, right? But if you ended up having this situation where wormhole space in its entirety in and of itself, you could Sino from one wormhole system to another wormhole system, like then I'd love to see the people there kind of claim
that would be amazing.
Then
especially when you don't know.
I'd love to see how their attitudes would change on that regard.
So
I would
fucking hilarious.
Could you imagine having
Do you get the reference of what I said?
No, what?
Okay, that was a paraphrase.
No, you're gonna have to give me the phrase again. I didn't.
That was a paraphrase. Okay, so it was along the lines of, I don't see what the problem is with Cloaky Camp. Wormholers don't have this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't have because wormholes don't have local
more advantages and still have issues. Right. That was me paraphrasing. Oh God. What's
was
the
it
dev you
Hilmar?
hate? No, not Hilmar.
Oh, Fozzie.
Me paraphrasing Hilmar from FanFest 2017 in a closed room that sadly never got recorded. Everyone in the room's jaws dropped, even the fucking wormhole.
Briss, my golem is 3.5 bill, so bump those numbers up here on your comparison. So no, yeah, 1 billion is just for the hull.
Let's finish Barrios' thought here. So
sorry, yeah,
and I think we've talked about this before, but I want to talk about it again here.
Yeah, if you want me to.
I don't
Fozzie
mind
in that
cloaks.
room was just
So what
dumb
did
as
he?
shit.
Yeah, well, what did he say? Everybody's jaws dropped, right? Hilmar said,
Right, no, it was Fozzie that said it.
Oh,
It
Fozzie.
was the point of wormholes don't have an issue with cloaky camping. I don't see what the problem is. There don't need to be any changes made. I'm paraphrasing because it was nearly 4 years ago. At this point.
So
I mean,
how out of
let me-
touch?
Let me just put this, like, let me just assume something, and assumption is the mother of all fuck ups, but I think is pretty spot on. I think the reason why Fozzie said wormholers don't seem to see it that way, so I don't think there's an issue, is because at that particular point in time, the only way that he played EVE Online was in a wormhole.
Well, here's
And
the
so
thing.
he didn't see it as an issue because his gameplay was
the
not affected.
wormholers didn't see it that way.
No, I know the
Because
wormholers probably didn't see it that way either.
Turned around and went, "Are you fucking dumb?" Right? Because even they were there, like, it's because signers don't exist, right? Like they're looking
Yeah.
and going, "What the fuck have you been smoking?"
And there's also a mass limit on the wormhole. There's so much you can get in at a time. Like, yes, just like how Initiative took Rage, you could over time get stuff in there, plant it, and
Didn't
maybe
that take
sneak
a
in
year?
stuff. But it can take a long time. Versus, I could literally have a 700 man Titan group drop on me at a moment's notice. Technically,
So I'll tell
Oh.
you the one way that you can kind of basically stop, like basically people hot dropping you using cloaky Sino-Volts. And the only way that I've been able to figure that one out is an early warning system where you have people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sitting on the grid of the station that, those attacks
You mean
are
like-
going to occur.
you mean like
And
how they watch
notify
our
people.
structure?
Yeah, and notify people like at the exact point that particular system spikes in enemies and there's any kind of undocks whatsoever. That's the
Yeah, it's-
only way that you can prevent people from being killed by cloaky campers, because
But
that is
even
the
then-
only method that CCP gives you to basically prevent that kind of gameplay from affecting you.
No, let me be clear here. I don't mind
And that's what I-
cloaks. I don't mind people
And that's what I
running
did
around
in-
with cloaks.
And that's what I did in Delve, in actual fact, when my corporation had its own alliance and lived in Delve, and we were basically being cloaky camped 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by When I'm in Space and Confederation of Pizza.
Don't get me wrong here. I don't mind cloaks. I don't mind cloaky camping in the fact of like you go into a system and you're kind of watching to see what the locals are doing, and maybe you're going to be there for an hour or 2 hours, hanging out with them, getting their patterns. That's all fine, active, real gameplay. What I'm talking about is people like CCTV, Omeka, even NGSA. Like we have our own group. I won't do it because I don't like it, but I get it. You might as well do what works. Sitting in a system with so many alts that you don't even pay for, you just
right.
skill farm them, and then
And it's
you don't know if they're there or
completely-
not, and they're
yeah.
not actually there 90% of the time, and you have a choice. They're basically destroying the gameplay styles of so many people because they can sit there with no way to stop them. The only time that we get to stop them is if one of them happens to get decloaked because of a disconnect on their computer, and then maybe you can probe them down. If
So
there
you
was
mean
some,
we have to rely on CCP's shitty programming. to
yes,
have a-
exactly. Instead of like
Okay.
something, if there was something in game, like a really high skill probe set that gives you a chance of finding what grid they're on, or a fuel cost on the ship, or
It was supposed to
something.
be- It was supposed to be a time when we were getting this awesome structure, right? That we could hit a button on every so many hours and give like a temporary give a temporary decloak effect on people in system or something, or probe people down who were there inactively
Same thing.
cloaked.
Mm-hmm.
Something where you can at least get an
Yes, I
idea.
dropped something.
So my thoughts on the whole kind of issue with cloaky camping, like from a standpoint, like I have two kind of things. Like one is like, oh, you can, the best
Set
sort
a
of,
trap
like,
and bait them and stuff. No,
the best kind of method that I thought, which I thought was pretty cool, was, if you made cloaks be a module that has an increasing cap cost per second that it's on.
Mm-hmm.
And so
you can't be
the
cap
more
stable.
time that you keep it on, the more cap it costs. And so eventually, at some point, you'll
It'll turn
never be
itself
able
off
to.
and-
Eventually, at some point, you'll lose enough cap for it to turn off, and then it has like a cooldown timer for, until you can turn it back on again. So the
Or log
idea is
off or
you'll
something.
never be able to make a cap stable version of a ship that can be cap stable with a cloak on. So they will always turn off, and you always have to have that period where you're uncloaked. That was one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is cloaky camping in effect is not actually the thing that's broken. The thing that's broken is you being able to call people. You being able to Sino and bring in a shit ton of people, through a bridge at a moment's notice. And so the issue isn't that cloaking is broken; it's like a trifecta of cloaking, Sinos, and bridging.
I don't mind.
The cloud. Sorry, if you nerf that, you then hit a legitimate gameplay of cloaked hot drops, right?
No, I'm fine with that.
No, that's fair enough. But my issue there is like, surely considering the sort of the mechanics involved, and I'm going to go on a sort of a bit of a jaunt in terms of like, what should be considered a gameplay element and not like common sense, and what should be sort of like common sense from a understanding physics sort of aspect. If you're opening up a temporary wormhole, like right next to a population center, say, like a NPC station, there should be essentially like things saying, no, you can't do that, because it's fucking unsafe. And so if you kind of prevent that in the same way that like lighting a Sino near a pos, you couldn't do it, closer than a certain period, certain distance, because CCP were basically trying to stop people from doing that, like the pos garage door kind of thing, where they light a Sino so close, and then they bring a ship in and they start, they turn on the pos force field and it covers the Sino, right? If you did something akin to that, but for lighting, for bridging things, that does make an issue with regards to just bridging ships, with a Titan in relative safety. That is an issue, I know that for sure. But like, at least with regards to covert bridges and that kind of thing, if you're going to be covert bridging things, like, I think the power of that sort of thing needs to be away or off any kind of structure whatsoever.
For
And if
me,
you do that, then you stop the kind of you stop the situation of like something cloaky lighting a covert Sino, after tackling something, and then like a bunch of things logging into a system, undocking, and then being bridged through, which is something you have almost no
time.
No time to know that that's happening, and it's so powerful and so devastating that like you have no ability to escape it.
You should say that the only issue is it happens more often in sites, right? And if you're doing that, you're still leaving it open in sites, which is where I say you can't really affect the cloaking and the bridging at the same time, right? Because if you do that, you're affecting genuine. Someone's roaming around in a cloaky ship, finds someone, isn't AFK camping, but goes to light something and oh wait, they can't because
No, but that's the thing.
something.
It's never the AFK camping that is the thing that is killing people. It is the sudden hot drop out of nowhere that's killing people,
Yes,
and that's
however,
the thing that needs to be changed.
However, sudden hot drops as a result of active hunting are fine.
Yeah,
Sudden
that's totally
hot drops
fine.
As a result of AFK camping is a slight different thing.
Yeah, the problem comes.
Probably end up nerfing the first option.
Because the problem comes from, you know, people obviously ganking from a certain location, you know, to an area that is around that particular location that they have, you know, AFK campers there watching and looking for targets every so often. So you know where the location of the hit is coming from. You just don't have any time to react to that. You don't have any opportunity for you to be able to see the hit coming. Like, you know, if there is ample time for you to see when the hit is coming, then you should have. Then you give players the agency to be able to avoid it. Right.
No, see, I don't mind it being a quick
They
drop.
don't have agency, and it feels horrible. It's a horrible gameplay experience.
I don't mind quick drops because I do them. They're fun sometimes. Don't get me wrong here. All I ask is that people can't take over an entire region and just make it impossible where you either have to live with and just hope you don't die that day against stuff that you have, as you said, you have no way to actually respond because of the resistance changes. There is no time to save anybody. Like you can't, even if you watch that station, even if you watch the station and saw them undock bridge, go, you don't have time because a carrier dies in 20 seconds or less, and a super dies in 2 minutes or less against the correct amount of bombers or dreads.
Yeah, I understand that, but like you also have to say like there's so you have to balance a bunch of things, right? You have to balance a bunch of things based on like, you know, to understand like, you know, there should be an acceptable period of time where if you're active, alert, and knowing what's going on in your space, you should be able to avoid, you know, being basically murdered on the street, right? But if you are, you know, if you're AFK, if you're not keeping an eye on your space and you're not watching for things that, you know, are happening in your space, then yeah, you should lose something that you have out in space. You know, that you're not doing your due diligence to protect. And there is a degree of due diligence that like CCP needs to kind of determine as to
they're bad at picking that out. You know that.
Yeah, I know. But like,
so it's like
there should be a point of there should be a period or a point as to which, you know, you haven't done your due diligence. You know, you're open to being killed. But then there's this also it should be there should be the other side of that coin as well, which is for the attackers. There should be a bit of due diligence where, you know, if you haven't done certain things, then you're liable to being counter dropped or having that situation, you know, because from a ganker's point of view, you know, logging in because you got a ping on Jabber or on Discord saying log in, join fleet, you know, go. To log in, join fleet, undock, take the bridge and kill something, like all of that up to the point where you've jumped in and you're killing something, like you're at zero risk. You have zero risk whatsoever from being encountered. The only time that you're counterable is when you're through the bridge or you've jumped to that Sino point and you're killing whatever's there. And to be completely honest, the situation that you put yourself in, or that the FC puts their fleet in, more likely than not, if they're doing their work at least semi competently, is you're going to kill that thing before it gets anywhere near any help to to stop it, or for any of your ships to die. So I saw this when being camped in and hot dropped by when I'm in space and Confederation of Pizza. If you didn't die in 30 seconds after that Cyno got lit, then you would basically you'd either live or or you'd kill something of their fleet, and that rarely, if ever, happened, because 9 times out of 10, or probably more than, well, like 99 times out of 100, that fleet would kill whatever it was targeting in less than 30 seconds and be warped and in their safe spot in like a minute and a half. You couldn't counter that in any way, shape, or form. So the only way to counter that is to have people there watching that, where they were coming from, and alerting people that like there was a spike.
Yeah, that
in
still
the system.
didn't save people. Trust me,
And it
I
still
did
didn't
that.
save. Yeah, it still didn't save people, but it gave people the opportunity to get safe.
Usually, basically, be like, okay, who's the sacrificial lamb to let us know that this is happening today? So that's what it ended up being. Now, because we're getting close to on time, is there any other news this week that we wanted to talk about or go over?
I mean,
It feels
there's
like
two.
trying to directly hint about something, Dawn, that we've missed.
What? What did we miss?
I'm sorry we went on pretty crazy about that.
Oh no, it's I don't
pretty
care.
far.
It's Eric's show
Anyway.
now. I just was
It's,
like, okay,
It's our show. Let me be clear.
it's everybody's show.
It's not all about Eric. This show's all about us. It's really how we like to run it. That's how McLeod and I have always done things. So that's how we do it.
But I just want to make sure, because I know it's fun to get different people's perspectives on things versus my show or Meta Show or even Talking in Stations, or and they talk about like a lot of like news around Eve with like a lot of different groups, like evictions and stuff like that for wormholes and like the Triglavian bullshit, and I don't pay attention to any of that, so I can't comment on that. But is there any other news or anything that's happened this week that like you guys want to talk about? Because it's interesting to hear kind of other people's perspectives on it.
I don't know, but I might have to display Moradin's little picture here he sent me.
Wow.
We'll do that tomorrow or next week. By the way, remember, next week,
Is our cooking show?
favorite holiday stuff, traditions.
We did really get onto Nvidia and also onto SpaceX either today.
I was just thinking, we've got we've technically got 15 minutes. Do we want to cover a bit of real life stuff?
Oh, go ahead. Sure. Shoot.
Yeah, McLeod.
So who wants to get blacklisted by Nvidia first in this chat?
Fuck it.
Yeah, go. Yeah. Go for it.
I would do it, but I don't know enough about anything to talk about it. So.
Basically, Nvidia is saying if you talk shit about our products and we send you anything like to review our products with, then if it's not to our liking, then you can get fucked with getting anything from us whatsoever, because clearly you do not speak with conviction and confidence, in support of gamers, the industry, or Nvidia. I think that.
So Nvidia is trying to force reviews their own way, and if you don't do it, isn't that called fascism? I mean,
it's a form of, I guess.
In the old radio industry,
like
it used to be called payola. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Heaven forbid we get like an actual review. So when somebody is actually saying our product's good, people believe them. No.
Don't get me wrong here. If you're paid as if you're like they're your sponsor, as a sponsor, your job, or as the sponsoree, your job is to promote their product. But if you've been specifically given something as a, we'll say a neutral third party review, you're supposed to be giving an honest review. You don't have to be an asshole about it, obviously.
Right.
But don't say I use it as a paperweight. But
so the issue there, Dawn, is the fact that like the people who are being blacklisted aren't people who are like actively seeking to, to shit talk Nvidia and talk down their sales and basically dissuade people from buying their products. They're doing legitimate reviews, and then Nvidia are coming along and going, it's not to our liking, it's not pro Nvidia enough, so
No,
get fucked.
it's the key word. Because Hardware Unboxed, which is the channel that has been blacklisted, literally has a quote from them on the Nvidia website being pro ray tracing and DLSS.
Yeah, and I think DLSS is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. And Steve has actively turned around and went, there is no reason you shouldn't turn on DLSS if it's supported by the games you have. Because it looks near perfect, right? Gets you more performance, which allows you to buy, let's be honest, allows you to buy a cheaper card and get higher end performance. Like, he outright said it's a no-brainer. And then, Nvidia's come around and gone, yeah, you've been too critical lately, whatever, we're blacklisting you. And it was like...
You're talking too much about,
rasterization
rasterization performance versus when you should be talking about, like, vector and, ray tracing.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
So we're going to talk shit about Nvidia because they're just being stupid.
They're just being so anti-consumer, like it's ridiculous.
Remember, you're supposed to just buy the new thing and not ask questions.
I mean, okay, Dawn, I said this when I was talking to people on the NVIDIA Reddit earlier, right? And actually, this does give me a scary thought. We've already seen NVIDIA block AIBs out by 2 days, right? They're not allowed to launch or do their reviews until 2 days later. So NVIDIA now have their Founders Edition in-house getting a 2-day head start. And they just blacklisted one of the major tech tubers from reviewing FE cards. What's the bet more go next? So that, as you say, literally day one launch is FE cards only, and you have to trust Nvidia's numbers.
Maybe just trust us. We know what we're doing.
And be making pro.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I don't review products.
In my kind of, in my estimate, my thoughts on Nvidia versus AMD right now is a case of pure performance, like pure card performance, is very close. The only thing that tips me into Nvidia versus AMD is the fact that that Nvidia has DLSS that's working and actually really, really good. Obviously, DLSS 1.0 was kind of a bit shitty, but they redressed that and made it like actually work really well. So, like, functionally, if it looks like 4K, it doesn't matter that it's not 4K because the end result is the same. So if the end product looks like 4K compared to 4K but has more frames, I don't give a fuck whether it's true or fake 4K. I get more performance with the same prettification. I'm gonna choose the one. It's
like,
which has
is it
more
a Louis
frames.
Vuitton bag or a fake Louis Vuitton bag? As long as it looks
I
good, I don't care.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Dawn. It's not. Is it a Louis Vuitton bag?
No, it's not even that,
Louis
actually.
Vuitton bag.
What?
Is it a Louis Vuitton bag or a Louis Vuitton bag stolen off the production line with the badge torn off?
Oh, yeah.
Not even with the badge torn off. If is it a Louis Vuitton bag, that costs like substantially less.
Because it came out the back door.
Because someone stole
It's
it,
still Louis
because it had a
Vuitton,
it was thrown in the defect bin, but it's all it is like 2 or 3 stitches were off, and so like instead of like destroying the thing, the worker just like.
I mean, these are all terrible analogies, but but you get the thing, you get the picture, right? Like there's technologies, like there's software technologies that Nvidia have bundled in with their cards that make choosing Nvidia at the moment better than AMD. But that is only a point. That is it's software, right? It's software development that AMD don't have at the moment, and that can change very quickly. The hardware perspectives, they're almost pretty much at exactly the same thing, and from a cost perspective, like, it is totally in AMD's court. So, like, I'm just pleading, like, AMD, like,
Fix your fucking
Put
shit.
to-
Or even
yeah, like
hold on.
develop,
You got me begging
develop,
at this,
please.
right? You got me begging this. Fucking Intel do something decent. I know you guys are twats when it comes to CPUs.
I
but
do need
to
to.
have a look at the GPUs when you get them out.
I think I need to get a new CPU and motherboard at some point. Mine I built in 2014. I built my
One
whole
of the other
computer.
one, because really there's two technologies that that really just like stopping me from going all AMD, to be completely honest, and that's DLSS and that's like RTX voice noise cancelling. That's all that concerns me, because when it comes to streaming, like, I would prefer to do CPU encoding streaming than GPU encoding streaming, purely because I know that it actually produces better results.
Now, I'm going to give homework to chat. Chat, think about this for either next week or the week after. What motherboard and CPU combo, like, that work together, should I get?
It doesn't even need to be done next week.
Buying limit, no. Buying limit is probably
Bard's
500 or less.
Bard's an AMD fanboy.
Well, I have an AMD. I think mine's an AMD 6300, but it's obviously from. It's not like it works fine. It's fine. Okay.
Is that a
I will say-
screaming in the background?
Yeah, I may.
Okay, you see, that just fits hearing 6300 just perfectly.
Listen, I got it in
How old?
2014. It was a nice mid-grade CPU.
Look,
So-
I got 8350 back then.
Well, I also was, a poor. I just bought a house like 6 months prior, and I wasn't making as much as I do. And I make about $15,000 a year more now than I did then. So I had a limited budget to work with here. My original computer I built was about $600 total for all the parts and pieces, minus the power supply. My dad bought me that.
I can't even remember what Radeon card I had.
I think Red Jive has got it perfectly.
What?
The only change I'd make is maybe an X570, switch it for a B550 with a 3700X. That's less than 500, and it's 8 cores, pretty decent performance. You're not going to have.
Well, it's got to match everything else I have. I've got to make sure that my GPU can work with it. I assume it would, but those are things I got to pay attention to. The parts I bought have worked for this board, so whatever I buy next will have to still work with those parts. Because after buying a $350 graphics card, which my original was only $2 something, so that was a big jump up for me. New hard drive this year, new power supply. I'll get a new CPU as well. I need RAM. My RAM is.
Oh, that's.
Let's talk here about my RAM. My RAM is from half of it. I've got half of it from an old roommate, and then half of the RAM is from an HP out of the box desktop that I salvaged. That's at least 12 years old now. I've never had to. I've never bought more RAM because it was it works.
So in that 500, you're also going to want the RAM because you are going to be using DDR3 right now.
Yeah, if that. So and you're going to love it even more. So two of the sticks are 4 gigs, and the other 2 sticks are 8 gigs.
I feel you there, Dawn. By the way, because I'm using obviously an X56 platform, and that's DDR3 as well, and trying to find like a kit that has more than 16 gigs of RAM is ridiculous. And if you've known sort of like fighting in EVE in large fleet fights, like each client can take up to 8 or can take 8 like anywhere from 6 to 8 gigs easily from each one. So if you're running 3 clients, which I have and I should,
Which I do,
and I generally tend to, that's more than 16 gigs of RAM. So
I have 24
trying to
gigs
find
of RAM.
That's exactly how much RAM I have as well. Because I ended up choosing. The strange thing is, I've got 6 bays for RAM, right? And my board officially only handles up to 4 gigs per stick. Finding 6 sticks that work functionally together without causing exceptions and causing issues is basically impossible. And so I went out on a limb and tried 8 gig sticks because I heard on the internet that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and loaded them in, tried it didn't work, and I was really confused as to why. And I found out that it was because I bought server grade ECC RAM for a consumer board, which didn't work. And so I ended up finding something else that wasn't it wasn't a kit, so there were individual ones, and they did actually functionally work. So thankfully, I have 24 gigs now.
So, as we have 5 minutes left, should we address the other one this week?
Oh, the epic fail.
Yeah, the media can.
Well, real quick, how do I find my board's information again? I know it's an MSI Gaming 9 something or whatever not, but I can't remember how to pull it up. Is it just properties or?
I don't think Windows holds that. You've got to use a third-party tool.
It did on my. That was the other thing that I had a limiting on was when I was using Windows 7 forever. So even getting more RAM didn't matter because it wouldn't handle anything above 16 gigs of RAM. So that's another reason why I never bought more RAM. Anyways, go to your next thing. Don't laugh at me.
MS Info 32 and hit enter in Windows 10.
Okay.
Yeah, this was SpaceX, basically, crashing and burning.
They learned a lot,
but they learned a fuckload, and they did so much right.
They when it launched, they gave it 3-to-1 chance of failure.
Yeah, 30% chance of succeeding, right?
Yeah.
I think
and let's just
that alone speaks for how far they got.
And let's just also say that the final moments of that of Starship landing, people thought it missed the pad, but there were aftershots of the imprint of the bottom of the of Starship, and it was fully on the pad.
Yeah, and the nose cone ended up dead center after it popped back up. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean that was a engine pressure issue, right? So
it was just landing more vertically than it should be. That was the issue.
Too much engine pressure, Eric. More, I mean, yes, engine pressure, but it was led by the methane header tanks not getting the pressure.
Mm.
So so when you
then flamed out an engine, in Elon terms, it was a engine-rich fuel mixture.
There you go. Something happened with your camera, McLeod. You went a little. You got some weird stuff on it.
Yes, it does have. I found it. So okay, I have an MSI 970 gaming. So that is my board. And yes, Windows does show you this information. It's under system information. So y'all
just go to the command prompt and run.
Oh, I just went
32.
to the Windows accessories and there's a system information option. I just clicked that.
All right.
So y'all were making it way more complicated than it needed to be.
There you go.
It's your end, Eric, because my feed on Skype looks fine.
Oh yeah, you win.
Well, it's
you win sepia.
Yeah, weird. There's this weird thing at the bottom.
And there's these two little orange things that were hanging up by your nose. It was kind of cool. Now it's by your lips.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
He bleeds rust. All right, let's run around one last thing here, folks. We got 1 minute left. So Barghost, I'll start with you.
Honestly, this week's been a good week. Actually, I was going to say bar CCP, but no. Brisk kind of made me feel it earlier, right? They've taken some feedback and made some positive changes. I mean, yes, I said earlier they didn't have to make the stupid changes in the first place, but they've learned from it. real life wise,
Have they?
still Corona, but
Have they?
we hope they at least reverted the idiocy for now.
They're eating too much shark. It's too dark up there now, or whatever the hell it is up there. Alrighty, Dave.
Hello.
One last thing.
No, I've got nothing to say this week. I'm good. I'm just too tired.
Nothing
But,
to
Have
say.
a good
They
Christmas,
just-
guys.
I'm
They
dying
just
over
like
it
to hang
too.
out.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Don.
Well, I'm discovering this that apparently, I guess some of my RAM is not being recognized. So, because it only says I have 16, but whatever, it's still working. So,
Might
no
be
biggie.
because you've got different types.
Probably because I have different types.
Yep.
So, other than that, I hope if you are in Imperium Secret Santa, I think sign up ended
The 12th.
either ends today or ending today. So make sure you do that. You all should watch the Meta Show later today, and you should watch Theta Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I think it's now 01 Eve time. I don't remember. Y'all can figure it out.
And go out to Amazon.com and other places and order Don's new book, Discovering Eve and HiSec through Level 4 Missions. It's a brand new read. It's fantastic. I read it the other day. It's great. That's my one last thing, McLeod.
I just want to shout out to Initiative, to my bros in Initiative, that it's always fun to realize that a lowly little alliance can tie up a coalition of many times that number for some reason.
It's
Good fucking job.
It's Initiative's MO. It's what they do. I mean, really, right?
They just want to
And
crash.
that's even taking test out of the whole legacy kind of thing. But
Absolutely. Alrighty. Thank you, folks, for watching. It's another great week. Next week is the Christmas show. Everybody, get your Christmas hats. Even you guys that don't do video, wear Christmas hats next week.
We
Alrighty.
should put our pictures up with little Christmas hats.
There you go. Little head things, like Futurama, right? Or actually, too, that was in. They also did that in the Dune series too, in the Butlerian Jihad books.
I
Heads in.
can't wait for the Dune film. But,
Oh, I'm so pissed it was pushed back, but yes, it's gonna be
Who
great.
makes it?
um,
It wasn't HBO making it, was it?
no, it was Walt Disney. It's was it Warner Brothers? So it's gonna be on HBO.
Yeah, it'll be on
Oh,
HBO
yes.
Max the same day it's
Yes, it
released
is.
in theaters. But by that time, we'll all have the the vaccine and won't matter. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Everybody have a great time, and we are out of here.
Cheerio.
See you.